Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Monday, 16 February. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Peter Magyar has launched his anti-Orban election campaign in Hungary. Australia is going to spend $2.8 billion on new nuclear submarine facility, and Iran says potential energy, mining and aircraft deals are on the table in talks with the United States. So firstly, Hungarian opposition leader Peter Magyar has launched his party's election campaign in Budapest on Sunday, vowing to end 16 years of rule by Prime Minister Viktor Orban, tackle corruption, and reorientate Hungary back towards Western Europe. Magyar, a former influential member of Orban's nationalist Fidesz party, took over leadership of the centre-right Tisza party in 2024 and quickly established himself as the biggest challenger to Orban in over a decade. In June 2024, Tisza, which is an abbreviation word of the Hungarian word for respect and freedom, won around 30% of the vote for European parliamentary elections, and most independent polls show it with significant lead ahead of the election in April, on April 12th. In a statement, he said, "We're standing on the threshold of victory with 56 days left to go. Tisza stands ready to govern." So what? So it appears likely that there's going to be some change for Hungary, which, will have a pretty significant influence in European politics as a whole, as Hungary was seen as essentially a stopper for a lot of statements, things the European Union wanted to do, and especially support towards Ukraine. However, just a word of warning, it's unlikely to be a liberal awakening in Hungary. Hungary is still quite a conservative Christian country, and while Magyar represents change in some degree, he is a former member of the Fidesz party, so still, holds some of these beliefs pretty close to home. So I wouldn't be thinking there's going to be massive changes in terms of, liberal policies. There ideally will be some changes around corruption, though. That would be a significant victory for the Hungarian people and Europe as a whole. As Orban and his cronies have siphoned money off for a significant amount of time. Another pretty interesting story that's come out around this is that Orban was allegedly threatening or planning to release essentially a sex tape of Magyar in a last-ditch effort to discredit him. It was allegedly from, I think it was 2024, and it was a video of Magyar sleeping with his ex-wife. And they were going to release it to try and, destabilize him within, especially like the Christian conservative base in Hungary. And next, Australia on Sunday earmarked $3.9 billion Australian dollars for the construction of a shipyard that would help deliver nuclear submarines as part of the AUKUS security pact with the United States and the United Kingdom. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese described the amount as a down payment on the facility in Osborne near the southern city of Adelaide. Investing in the submarine construction yard near Osborne is critical to delivering Australia's conventionally armed nuclear-powered submarines, Albanese said in a statement. An estimated 30 billion Australian is expected to be spent on the facility in the long term, according to official projections. So what? While the infrastructure is important, there's currently no timeline for any submarines being built or delivered yet. And this is one thing that stands out to me, as most analysts put the kind of strategic point, like top of the strategic timeline, in 2027. These subs are not going to be anywhere near in operation by that point. So, while still important in the long term, these are not something that are likely to have a significant effect on the current issues surrounding China. Also, once/if Australia has these submarines, they are going to likely be significant assets in the region and likely to support other Southeast Asian nations encountering Chinese aggression in the South China Sea. Having permanent nuclear submarines operating in the region will be significant, as they're one of the best modern weapons there is, and they are significant strategic assets in warding off kind of grey zone aggression as well. So yeah, once they do arrive, significantly important. However, when this will happen, currently unclear, and something that seems pretty long term. Lastly, Iran is pursuing a nuclear agreement with the United States that delivers economic benefits for both sides, an Iranian diplomat was reported saying on Sunday, days before the second round of talks between Tehran and Washington. Iran and the United States renewed negotiations earlier this month to tackle their decade-long dispute over Tehran's nuclear program and to avert new military confrontation. The US has dispatched a second aircraft carrier to the region and is preparing for the possibility of a sustained military campaign if the talks do not succeed, US officials have told Reuters. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, speaking at a news conference in Bratislava, said that President Donald Trump made it clear that he would prefer diplomacy over a negotiated settlement, while making it clear that it may not happen. He also said that no one is ever able to do a successful deal with Iran, but we're going to try. Okay. So what? This kind of reminded me of the war is politics by other means, a phrase by Clausewitz that's often cited. But essentially, this is it, right? The US is making it very clear that it's either make a deal or we will attack you. So, not the greatest situation to be in for Iran, but one that is pretty common in the world. My assessment is if the deal is too one-sided, it is likely to collapse once the US military leaves. As soon as the US removes the stick, right? If it's too aggressive or just bad for Iran, then it's possible that they'll just, sack it off and go back to whatever they were doing. Even if that means the US military coming back and then attacking them, it's, the regime also needs to survive for this deal to work. So we'll have to see. Conflict still appears possible, but unclear how it will lead to regime change. I was saying this in another assessment earlier, but, the momentum from these protests is now gone. Though there was a big protest in Munich over the weekend with allegedly over 200,000 people there. The momentum within Iran is gone. If they wanted to affect change, have an effective change within Iran, they needed to use that momentum to take out the regime. But that's now gone. The only kind of military action here is completely destroying Iranian leadership, so the government is unable to function. So that's definitely possible. Don't get me wrong, but that would be significant and something that we haven't seen in a very long time. So we'll have to wait and see. It's definitely up in the air at the moment, and no one knows what Trump's going to do. But anyway, that's been your Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.